Let's take a look at some charts on Litecoin from this week's article on Brave New Coin. So Litecoin had its halving a little over a year ago now, and for the most part, price hasn't really seen any significant appreciation beyond that date. For the most part, LTC has followed the rest of the market and sort of underperformed here over the past few weeks and months. Definitely a laggard, but technicals are starting to look much better. I'll show that towards the end here. If we look at hash rate and difficulty, you can see the recovery from halving. So halving again was August 2019. Hash rate dropped 70%, and now it's increased 50% from the bottom. A lot of this is due to price appreciation more than anything, I think. Just because when you lose half your block reward, you get squeezed out as a miner until price sort of catches up. Block times are still 2.5 minutes. They've kind of stayed below 2.5 minutes for the majority of LTC's life. After August, around August 2019, you can see that because hash rate slowed down so much that block times increased. Currently, they're still above 2.5 minutes, but not much. In general, it just stays around 2.5 minutes. Like I said, miners are pretty happy here. Profitability isn't insane, but there isn't much else you can mine with your script ASICs other than Doge. So if it's profitable, they're going to turn on the miner. That's just how it is. So that's exactly what they're doing here, most likely. You can see there's no new ASICs this year being released, at least that we know of. There's a small possibility that this jump in hash rate is actually due to a covert ASIC rather than any sort of excitement around price or mining. Because if there's an unknown ASIC that hasn't been announced yet, there's a good chance that it's already mining on the network. If you look at block size and transaction fees, block size has continued to increase over the past few months, which again speaks to the on-chain demand and should be seen as a bullish factor. Mean transaction fees have stayed flat, which is what you want to see if a chain can scale appropriately. So block size finally increasing over the past 2 years. It was decreasing throughout 2019, decreasing in early 2020. Finally looks like people are using LTC for something, likely just related to speculation, but it's better than just declining in the dark, basically. Looking at active addresses and NVT, active addresses in the fill also increasing a little, marginally, but that's still better than declining. So definitely some slight shades of bullishness there. NVT, since 2018, has just been all over the place. So it's really hard to take this seriously as a metric because it's so violent. And if NVT is increasing, it's bearish. It says the market cap is overvalued based on on-chain utility. So even though on-chain utility is increasing over the past few months, NVT says it's still overvalued. It needs to be more for this market cap currently. But it's hard to even, look at these swings have been insane from like 60 to 160. There really hasn't been a smooth trend like there was from 2014 to 2018. It's just all over the place. So I wouldn't even, if I was actually using this as a metric, I would be cautious. If you look at MVRV, which is another one of these on-chain metrics, essentially it says if we're below 0.5, it's been a buy opportunity. If we're above 2.5, it's been a selling opportunity. It's currently in the middle. So to me, I read this as there's lots of potential for upside. Doesn't necessarily mean it will continue moving up. It just says momentum is favorable for additional upside potential. Google trends over the past 2 years for LTC have been probably the lowest of any coin I've seen that I've looked at. Definitely not bullish, but if you look at the past 2 years sort of zoomed in on that scale, it has been increasing slightly over the past few weeks. So pretty sad story overall, but maybe a redemption arc over the past few weeks with price appreciation. Other than that, though, there's not a bullish picture for any Google trends on anything. If we look at technicals, Bitfinex long shorts, VPVR, yearly pivots, 50, 200 EMA, volume, and RSI. First thing that immediately popped out to me was actually these longs on LTC. I don't know who's longing all these altcoins on Bitfinex, but for most of the USD pairs, somebody has just been longing the crap out of this stuff over the past few months. You can see longs have just spiked almost all-time highs. OI is heavily long here. So if price does dump significantly, these longs are going to get nervous. They're fine right now, but if we break below 40, I'd say that's when they're going to start to capitulate and bring price even lower. There's a bullish 5200 cross here for the first time since earlier in the year, which was short-lived. There's also a bear div here. Price is going to want to return to the mean at around the 200, EMA at around the $50 level on VPVR. So it's probably going to need to reconsolidate up here before it challenges this yearly pivot for a move to 100, 110, something like that. But trend is favorable for bullish continuation. Cloud also likes it above the cloud for the first time since February. TK lines are flat, which it tells you trend is sideways, and mean reversion is expected again to somewhere around 50. So I really like 50 as about a dip opportunity here on Litecoin. And the LTC BTC chart also as depressing as any Google Trends you'll see. It's basically at multi-year all-time lows. It's got a chance for like mean reversion to 88, 0088, something like that, where this VPVR 200 EMA yearly pivot all up in here is resistance. But you can't get bullish on this. It does look way oversold, but at the same time, it has a history of just underperforming BTC dramatically. So it's just hard to want to get into this based on this chart. There's a chance that this prints a massive inverted head and shoulders, shoulder, head, shoulder at around, the neckline would be around 0085. But that's a long ways away. That's 6 months to a year away at this point, at least. So it's worth watching, putting on the watch list, putting a horizontal resistance level at 008 or something like that, putting it on the watch list, just ignoring it until then because it really doesn't look great. So overall, on-chain metrics way up over the past few months. Price, USD price is up and bullish. BTC price looks oversold, but doesn't look like anything that is tradable for me at the moment.